Yo guys, Phase Shifter here and welcome to another video. It's been over a week since we had an update from the devs over at Hexworks for Lords of the Fallen, but here we are. We have patch 1.1.282, which according to the title boasts of over 100 enhancements. I've had a quick look through the notes and I am not going to read out everything. I'm going to do my best now to summarize everything. There are some very interesting points to go over, mainly around balancing. There's been some item nerfs, some boss buffs, and some PvP changes, particularly for those people using boss weapons. Pieter's sword looks like it's had enough of time at the top. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Greetings, lamp bearers. Thanks to all of you who took part in our Season of the Bleak. Your journey through this darkness and mysterious event has been nothing short of incredible to see. The quest line and the secret mask hidden within it have captivated many of you, so due to popular demand, we've decided to keep these active even though Halloween is over, so that you can earn this unique loot with all your characters. However, please be aware, we will be bidding farewell to the Halloween decorations that adorn the vestiges and revenges, so no more witch hats on pumpkin heads at vestiges, unfortunately, folks. In this patch, we've enhanced the visual quality of HDR, added extra save game safeguards, done good performance improvements, and addressed rare crashes. We've also improved cooperative play, made PvP more diverse, buffed some bosses, refined AI behavior, and balanced spells and items, just to name a few. You can dive into the details below. Thanks to everybody for your continuous support, your sentry reports, and for leaving us so many positive reviews after the last patch. This means the world to our hard-working team. So, folks, without any further ado, I am going to get into this patch and summarize the important key areas. I will put the link to this patch in the description below if you would like to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. So the bits that I'm going to focus on are going to begin with save game. I know people have had corruption issues there. They have altered the save game issues. They have sorted it out. They've put a fail-safe in there. Save game. An additional fail-safe has been added to save games to avoid the extremely annoying issue that a few players experience with corrupted saves. Folks, if this affects you, make sure you send your saves over to them so they can look at the issue. I hope that's not happened to anybody. We have some stability and some performance tweaks. I'm not going to go through these. It looks like they are working on frame rate issues by kind of changing the way things work in Calrath and Skybridge and places like that. I am not going to go through these because it is going to take too long. I'm not going to go through these because it takes too long, and I don't want this video to run as long. These previous patch videos have been way too long, folks. NG Plus now, clients won't be able to restart current game and start NG Plus in the host world as intended. There are some co-op changes. I'm not going to go over these, folks, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. PvP boss weapons. This is very interesting and I am going to focus on this. We've observed that some players have heavily relied on specific boss weapons and spells for PvP. Pieter's sword and Blessed Reflection come to mind straight away there, which has led to a less diverse gameplay experience. Basically everyone running around dual wielding Pieter's sword. To address this, we've made quite a few adjustments to these items. Boss weapons will now have 10 levels instead of 5. Wow. And we've modified their upgrade curves. While they remain potent, they are no longer overpowered in PvP. The mana cost, here it is, for Pieter's Blessed Reflections and Infernal Hound's invocation spells have been significantly increased. Exploding bolts and shattering bolts now require more ammunition to use, and the usage of the corrupted banner javelin has increased and its damage output has been nerfed. To facilitate this transition, we've temporarily reduced the cost of beryllium chunks at the shrine, making it easier for players to get their boss weapon from 5 to 10, but also make it easier to try out different weapons and create more varied builds. Our goal is to foster a more varied and enjoyable gaming experience for all while avoiding overpowered weapons. We appreciate your understanding and ongoing support. That's going to cause a lot of upset for people, I think, and also some people are going to rejoice. People that have been leaning into those weapons and spells are probably going to be quite annoyed, but folks, I don't play PvP. What do you think? I think this sounds like a great change. The only thing that I'm thinking about now is, what about my beryllium chunk that I used on my Pieter's sword? That was the first weapon that I leveled to max. What about that chunk? Have I lost that now? Am I going to have to spend another one? If so, that's okay, but that's just something for the devs to think about. Other tweaks in PvP, the host is now unable to return to the main menu while the Crimson Ritual is in process. We've made adjustments to invasion volume boxes, increasing their size slightly to help reduce disconnections. This is an ongoing process, so you can expect to see further improvements in this patch with additional enhancements planned for next week. We have enhanced the visual feedback for player eliminations in PvP to provide a more rewarding experience, and they fixed an issue in which the invader could enter the host world with reduced mana, ammo, or HP if the level disparity between the two players was too high. And we have enhanced the visual feedback when avenging another fallen lamp bearer. So, PvP players, sound off in the comments below. What do you think of these changes? I think they're a step in the right direction, personally. I don't play PvP, so I can't comment fully, but it sounds in theory like a good idea. What do we think, folks? Sound off in the comments below. Bosses and AI. I am not going to go through these. I want to keep this video short. Have a look in the patch notes below. There is no nerfs to the bosses, which is welcome. I actually feel like the bosses feel a little bit easy. I haven't progressed through many NGs, so I can't comment what they get like, but it does feel a little bit easy. It did on the first playthrough, if I'm honest. So what do we think about that? This is interesting. AI. The Scarlet Shadow has received a few improvements to make it more dangerous and harder to cheese. The Scarlet Shadow could sometimes receive full damage, not anymore. The Scarlet Shadow has learned a few new tricks to react to some trolling players. Now you can't hide from him by taking an elevator or get on top of some assets to shoot him without being touched. He's more resourceful, you've been warned. The Scarlet Shadow now has a few more nav links to be able to jump up and down some platforms. Running away from it is now even more challenging. Shout out to Chnages. I'm probably butchering his name there. Great YouTube channel. He's been making loads of Lords of the Fallen Vigor farms. I used one of them the other day. It involved an elevator and the Scarlet Shadow. I don't think that's going to work anymore. Let's see what you can come up with. If you haven't checked out his channel, make sure you do, folks. I will pop a link in the description below. He does some great stuff, spends loads of time sorting out his grinds and passing them on to us. So show him some love, go over that way. Other AI buffs, I'm not going to go through them, but I think those horrible little golem gremlin things that literally butcher you when they're in packs have been given a buff from what I'm gathering here. That should be fun. Balancing, this has some interesting talking points. Unfortunately, I will not be going over all of them because I don't want this video to run over. Barrage of Echo's cost has been increased by around 25% and the damage decreased by 20%. This was absolutely needed in my opinion. I have a build that I'm bringing out shortly for you guys. It did focus on Barrage of Echoes slightly. Can still work without it, but I noticed as I was doing my next playthrough, it is ridiculous. It was deleting rooms. It was deleting really strong mobs. Like you could run up to one of those mobs with the bell on their heads and literally run next to them, look at the floor, throw it on the floor. The orbs wouldn't scatter and would just detonate at their feet and instantly gib them. So I think that was probably needed. Defensive aura has been nerfed by increasing its maintenance cost by 20%. That's annoying, but also probably needed. I'd figured out a way to get defensive aura to just stay up indefinitely to do with mana regen and the way things tick. Unfortunately, that is probably not going to work now. I will have to test it. Or maybe you just need to lean into mana regen more. But again, it was probably needed. It was a bit broken because defensive aura is a really good damage reduction skill. What else have we got? Healing aura has been nerfed with a decrease in its base healing per second from 8 to 6.5, which is approximately a 20% nerf. Again, I think that was probably needed. You could throw that spell down on the floor and just go to town on things. So I think that's needed as well. They've increased the visceral damage multiplier on Umbral Assassin swords by 15% to make it a more attractive choice for parry players. That's interesting. This one was also needed. Lowered the bonus damage from Pendant of Burden from 0.1 to 0.07. Stacking status effects are highly efficient and fairly powerful on their own. As such, we've slightly nerfed this pendant to balance it with other combat options. I think that's okay. I know people were leaning into that a lot. nerfed enhanced throwables by 30%. Pretty much all of them were overperforming, especially enhanced hammers. I have a friend who's going to be very disappointed about this, but it was pretty crazy how much those throwables were doing. So much needed. Folks, I'm not going to go over everything else. I'm going to leave you a link in the description to go over these. What do you think of these patch notes, folks? Do you think they're a fair approach? I believe they are. PvP stuff with the boss weapons was certainly a problem from what I'd heard and seen online. I think that that's a sensible change. I also think that the balancing, the experience I've had of the skills that I've talked about, they were overpowered. They needed tweaking. They were very, very easy to lean into. And I think that the best thing for this game is if we have more build diversity, we'll get more longevity. I think that Radiance is absolutely ridiculous. I fortunately leaned into it when I started playing. That was completely by fluke. I started with Radiance on day one just because I thought it looked cool. And lo and behold, it's been absolutely insane. I think they need to look at how well Radiance performs against other choices if they want to level the playing field even more. But what do you think, folks? Sound off in the comments below. So there we have it, patch 282 for Lords of the Fallen, over 100 enhancements, a lot of balancing and a lot of PvP tweaks, and generally just the devs showing the game some tender love and care. I'm still really satisfied, still having an absolute blast playing this game. Got to a point where I'm now able to play around with builds, create guides, look at different approaches. It feels like there's a lot of stuff that you can explore and a wide range of spell combinations, item combinations, just general build diversity, which I think is absolutely fantastic and in favor of the longevity of the game. So with that in mind, folks, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Sound off in the comments below with any thoughts and opinions on anything that I've said or perhaps things that I've missed. Smash that like button, subscribe, share with your communities. It all helps the channel. We're on the push to 800 subscribers. Thank you so much for the support. And until the next one, guys, take care and have a great day.